So excited about this one, you guys. I have been itching to just get it going. Like, the way that I could not have been more excited to finally kickstart, like, actually a weight loss journey postpartum. It's been a long time coming, but this is mostly due to the fact that, like, I stopped pumping, aka I guess breastfeeding, if you will. That's why I'm doing this now. I had to hold off. There are some supplements I'm taking that I think are not really quite breastfeeding friendly, and I'm saying I think because I don't know for sure, but I didn't want to take the risk, so we opted out of, I guess, doing this just quite yet. But this is going to be not only a vlog that's centered around this, but like in general, like the way I'm approaching this is with weight loss in mind. Not every single person who is sharing their fitness journey or wellness journey has that like specific goal in mind. I actually have never personally cared about like losing weight whenever I've approached like my health and wellness journey. That's just me. I've always had other chronic issues like constipation, bloat, acne, energy levels, things that were like more in relation to my digestion system. So when I sought out gut health in general, I had the goal of like fixing those things. And while fixing those things, I just happened to lose weight in the process. It was never the goal. This time it's really different. I am approaching it with weight loss as my #1 priority. I also like want to be super like transparent about the things I'm using, I guess, to kind of kickstart my body and help me a little bit in that regard. And one of those things is utilizing Arbonne's GLP-1 nutritional support. There's a lot of chatter around like peptides, GLPs, and what they all kind of do, what they're for. And I see a lot of the chatter mostly like the negative side more so about it. And honestly, rightfully so. I do think that there are a lot of people who are abusing what Ozempic and what Mounjaro and those specific GLP-1 products are meant to do. Those are like actual pharmaceutical drugs that are meant to target like obesity and people with like type 1 or 2 diabetes. I don't even know which one. And so there's that chatter, and then there's the chatter of like peptides and being on GLP. But the truth is, peptides is its own like world. Sure, a lot of those do like things for your metabolism for weight loss, but there are also peptides that target like other specific things, like overall like quality of life that includes things like energy, like helping you with sleep and mental clarity, things of that sort that I feel like maybe don't get talked about enough. What I want you to know about Arbonne's is it does not contain, gives you the same like results without junk that's in essentially these types of injections and such. It's not a pharmaceutical GLP-1 medication. It also doesn't contain any semaglutide or like synthetic GLP-1 agonists. So it is truly a supplement that is made and derived most natural ingredients that can also help give you very similar results in terms of weight loss and in terms of like energy levels and overall metabolic health, appetite regulation, and sleep and stress management, which I think is something that like pretty much almost every person I know can benefit from. It also is not something that's meant for you to stay on like long term. Just like anything else that falls under the category supplement, it's meant to be a supplement that helps you kickstart or get to a certain point in your journey. And here's the thing, like I'm somebody who could totally do this, lose weight and all the things without this product. Like I'm gonna be so clear, I don't think I need this product, but although that may be the case, does not mean that there isn't somebody in my audience that couldn't benefit from this. And I say that because there are genuine people who are overweight and they do need a little bit of a help. What Arbonne has done is created a product that can essentially not replace medical treatment per se, but support your own body's natural GLP-1 response, which in return will give you those results you're probably seeking from in an injection, or now the ads tell me there are pills for this, which is like nuts to me. And for me, as far as like partnering with Arbonne and sharing a product, it doesn't feel right for me to share something I've never experienced with and I've never tried myself. So that's kind of where it's stemming from my, I guess, my why and why I'm choosing to utilize it and test it out myself. I believe in being a product of the product. So if I'm going to share something, I need it to be authentically because I am living proof of it in some way, shape, or form. I don't know that yet about this product, and that's exactly why I'm choosing to utilize it and see. I am basically doing a reset for 2 weeks, and if you're new here, basically what my diet is like very gut health centered, which is essentially a non-inflammatory diet. So that means you're eating very minimally, if even, like processed foods. So stick to more produce, right? Like obviously you're prioritizing protein, you're also prioritizing fiber, you're also prioritizing fruits and veggies, you're also getting healthy carbs. So there really isn't any food group you cut out per se, but you're just eating cleaner and you're feeling so much better. For example, instead of snacking on like a protein bar, I'm gonna reach for my carrots and my hummus. Things that aren't, you know, processed, clean. Like read your labels. That's basically what it is. So like I buy grass-fed where I can. I buy pasture-raised where I can. The only thing I will probably not be doing is the dairy, because the dairy is expensive to fully go on just raw dairy with everything, to show you that you can definitely still do a reset and get something out of it by practicing the 80-20 rule and just doing what you can where you can. I did a whole grocery haul right now for like just a little over $100, and this is going to feed me and my husband for an entire week. I literally just went to Trader Joe's. That's all I did. I just bought a few clean products. So because I'm prioritizing this at the moment, that's why my greens and my fizz are now being taken kind of midday, if you will. That said, I'm also cutting out, like only allowing myself to have things with natural sugar. So if I do have dessert or sweet treat, if you will, I won't make it like at home, probably from scratch, and I'll probably only utilize like dark chocolate, honey, maple syrup, things of that kind. I'm going to opt out of consuming coffee. You can choose to do that or not. There are many studies that show and have shared how coffee is essentially not great for your gut, but I also believe in 80-20 and in sustainable, and I love my coffee. When it comes to doing a reset, I do love how I feel afterwards, like I said, from just doing the most that I can to get the most that I can out of this. So I'm going to be cutting out coffee and instead utilizing matcha. Arba makes an amazing matcha that contains MCT oil, which also helps with like your body's just like process of burning fat. A win-win, because why would I not want that? Of course, I'll be taking my protein shakes just for like convenience and to help me with getting in enough protein for the day. And my tried and true that you guys already know, greens and fizz. You do not need to take these together, but I do just because habit stacking, duh. My greens are for your overall wellness. Like I'm telling you, if you don't know much about gut health, I'm telling you, you need to do your own research on it. It is a game changer for just anyone who wants to like live a healthy lifestyle but not feel restricted. Just layer in these products, you guys, and I promise you, like even if you weren't to do all these changes to your diet, you will feel so much differently after even just like a few days or a week. Then which brings me to my point on energy. So I'm going to be utilizing fizz as like my afternoon pick-me-up instead of or like an energy drink. I don't really drink those, but there was once a time when I did. Like, especially now being a mom to a 5-month-old. Always open for questions. So if you want to ask me about any of the products that I take and I use, let me know and comment below. Now, as far as my fitness routine, that's going to change a little bit. I actually have recently started weightlifting. Postpartum program you guys saw me do, I finished the whole thing. It was basically 3 months long. It was great. I feel like it got me through a really rough season of like truly just being home and not having much to work with in terms of like being able to go somewhere. I was still pumping. I really didn't have time to do like longer workouts at the time. And now that we're in a little bit more of a swing and routine with Gray, I feel like it's easier to now do longer workouts. So I've incorporated strength training again. My knees are quite literally like broken and I don't know what to do about them, which is something I'm going to look into and explore. I think I'm going to try and schedule a visit with my OB to see what is normal postpartum and what's not, because there are a few things I have questions about. So I'm going to look at some vitamins that I can take for that, and then as well get more into my strength training. So I'm not going crazy with lifting like super heavy. Like I'm really just trying to like feel strong again. And my goal is no longer, like I said, just movement. It is more so like actual weight loss and like muscle definition if I can get some of it back. So basically I'm doing 1 upper body day, I'm doing 1 lower body day, and then 2 other days I am doing Pilates of some sort. So I'm trying to do Pilates more truly to just help build up the strength in my core. I feel like that workout helps so much with that, and it's also I've found so good on my knees. So yeah, that's the current split. As the weeks go on, I'm going to share with you guys exactly how much weight I lose in the next 2 weeks implementing all of this. So right now we are just going to unload, put away all these groceries because I think my baby just woke up, and listen to a podcast. This yogurt bowl I just made takes me back to early postpartum days where like truly this is like everything I consumed. But I owe you guys an update because it has been a little while, and like shared basically what like my workout routine has been. And you guys, this is probably the most loose I've been with a reset ever. Now my at least 4th or 5th reset since being introduced to this way of living. And like the main reason for that is because I feel like people can get so hung up on food and dieting. And if you've followed me here for a while, and you know this is something I've preached since the beginning, just basically like not overcomplicating like health and eating well and healthy. Even though I am somebody who stands by like clean this and clean that, does not mean that you cannot achieve your goal or that you have to be so hyper focused on that when trying to create, many people call it an 80-20 lifestyle, which is like 80% of the time you eat with this in mind, 20% of the time you are essentially just enjoying life and not thinking twice about things. On the weekends, I've tried to be more intentional about like specific choices you've made of where we go out to eat, and then even more so when we're there, I try to make a better choice in terms of like, well, is this meal I'm choosing fully carbs and fully indulging, or is this, you know, does this contain a decent amount of protein? Does it have a decent amount of vegetables? Are there healthier carbs involved? So I have all that in mind whenever I go out to eat, but obviously I'm not reading the label at the restaurant to know exactly if they cooked it with like tallow or like extra virgin olive oil and all those things. I can't control that. However, most people don't normally think twice about that when they go into a restaurant. They normally just go and eat what they're craving, not giving it two thoughts. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but there is something wrong with that if that is how you're eating basically 100% of the time, right? So that's the 20% that you want to like let yourself just not really focus too much on and not get so harped on like, is this clean? Is this non-toxic? All the things. So there is a balance to it all, much as some people don't like that word. It's just, there's no other word for it. You have to try to not beat yourself up over like clean this and clean that. That's like what I'm prioritizing, especially when I do a reset. A few of the other things that I have been incorporating, and so this is now my 3rd week that I have been incorporating the GLP every single day, and the first week I lost 6 pounds. After that, I have not seen the scale tip too much in either direction. So I have been able to keep the weight off, being, I guess you could say, extremely strict, which I think is really nice. 2 things I've noticed in my body, which I have always said trumps like anything that the scale could ever say. The weight in my chest area has come significantly down, and I have to say that, like, of course there is added factor of like I'm no longer breastfeeding, and that could be a huge reason as to why I'm having these results. However, I've been done breastfeeding for a little over a month now, and I don't know if it's a coincidence, but it drastically started dropping really right around the time I started taking that GLP. So, and then the second thing that I have always done for the last 4 years, it has been my holy grail, all things in my health are my greens and my fizz. And because I'm not consuming coffee, not consuming processed sugar of any kind, I have been relying heavily on my fizz, especially for my midday afternoon pick-me-ups when I just like want to crash. Been a game changer. And then you'll see me occasionally on some mornings I'll also have a matcha. Into gut health, and you've really looked into it and read about it, you will see how much your gut affects everything in your body. And I talk a lot about my hair, skin, and nails right now because that area very much like affected with postpartum. I feel like a collagen builder in the greens has all played a huge role in why I feel like I haven't really suffered too badly. So mind you, I've been on these products for almost 4 years now, so you cannot really compare yourself to me if you chose to start doing this now and do a reset at the same time, especially during a season. That's just because like it takes a second for your gut to reset. That's the whole point of a reset. But yeah, so I would say those are probably the core things that I've stuck to consistently every single day. There were maybe a day or two that I missed the GLP because I just forget, especially on the weekends. But I've been doing really well with everything. No crazy bad side effects from the GLP. I've said this before, but the reason why I love it so much is because it's made from all natural ingredients. And the last thing I wanted to say was I've also noticed that my clothes just fits me a little bit differently, which is really nice. So I do overall have been seeing more like of a difference visually in like how I look like in my clothes, how my clothes fits on me. I am just coming off of week 3. So I don't know, I may go strong this way for one more week. I'm like low-key really missing my coffee, so we'll see. I want to get everything I can out of this experience, and I will take the GLP until I'm done with the whole container. I will give you guys an update on, I guess, where my weight is eventually. I just honestly don't like to harp on that too much because I don't really care too much with scale set, and I obviously want to lose my little belly pouch, so I really feel like I have to say Pilates has been a game changer for like my pelvic core strength and just rehabilitation. Also has been helping me so much with like my knees. I like stay away from running for that reason because I really don't have great knees, so I don't really know what's going on with that, but I was reading on it and it was pretty like common, I guess, that a lot of women feel this almost up to about a year of your postpartum. So it actually affects me given like where I am right now. I know I'm already 6 months postpartum, but it's crazy how long like the remnants of just giving birth and being pregnant. All those things can kind of stick around and you can like hold on to. Side effects, if you will. Even though you could be like far out as a year, literally there are some things that will stay with you for life, which is so unfortunate. And then there's other things that they linger and they stay for a bit longer than you'd like, and you just kind of have to keep working on it, rehabilitating it. But don't underestimate the power of quality supplements, a good routine with exercise and nutrition. Like all of these things are so important, and I really do think that most people still aren't believing in that and they're looking for quick fixes, which is why I like to be super like honest about like my take on things on here. And I'm always going to be sharing with you guys the things that I take. But with this said, I will never support or say that supplements are a quick fix for anything. Honestly, any of the products I'm sharing with you guys here, because I know that GLP can get a lot of hype because everyone sees, oh my gosh, I'm going to just lose all my fat. If you don't have a good balance with like your food, if you are not making good decisions around that, and you're also not practicing good habits like sleeping well and even just like your mental health, by the way, they play a huge role in like the results you get out of anything that you do. Like you cannot take these products and expect yourself to like do well. The science is there, don't get me wrong, but ultimately that's not the point of supplements. Supplements, I've always said this, it's in the definition to supplement what you are already working on, practicing, if you will, in your day-to-day routine. But anyhow, hydration is so key in your day-to-day wellness routine, and just like in your journey of obtaining optimal health. So don't sleep on all these things, and I just felt the need to disclose that because again, you are new here. You can probably make the assumption that I'm just throwing products at you, and that's not what I ever want to do. My journey started with the products, but it's turned into so much more, and that can be the case for you or for somebody else. Like I had an issue with chronic constipation, issues with bloating. I felt like I could not lose weight no matter how many times I was working out, how many things I cut out from my diet, and then you just learn that, like, I'm looking at it wrong. I'm treating my body wrong, and I'm going way too hard on the things that honestly just like are not, it's not signaling to my body what I need to do. So when I started to approach my diet more so with like focus on whole foods, focus on less processed things, you know, no added sugars and less coffee on an empty stomach full of sugar. And then I implemented the greens and other things to also target it, right? Like a vitamin, if you will, to supplement it on top of the changes I made. It was the entire process that gave me my results, which I no longer suffer from constipation. I used to wake up like what felt like rocks in my stomach. Never have I had that situation since starting this lifestyle and starting these supplements. And those may not be your issue, but the truth is it's also manifested in other areas. Like I rarely get sick, I feel like maybe once a year, which is like whatever, right? My energy, I don't rely on coffee anymore. And I do still have a crash during the day because of mom life. There's days where I maybe have like one source of energy in passing, whether it's fizz, coffee, or any matcha, anything. It sustains me my whole day, which is how it should be. Like that's how you should not be constantly feeling like you have to get energy into your veins. You're relying too much on a product at that point. It shouldn't be that way. The last thing I'll say, because I feel like I've been yapping for some time now, it is everything. You have to apply it all. You can't just pick and choose certain things, which is why I always say, like, if your budget doesn't permit, whenever you're signing up to be my client and try these products, you do have a 90-day money back guarantee. If you're like, I don't like them, they did not work, you could use the whole thing, return it for your full money back. But yeah, I just felt the need to disclose that. I highly recommend you follow me on Instagram, actually, and TikTok, so you can share so much more day-to-day, like, inspo like that. Anyhow, we are going to finish up my yoga bowl because I am starving, and then I have to get ready for the day. just a quick little recap of sort of everything that resulted from me committing to this. Earlier in the vlog, I already discussed like everything that I was going to be doing. So if you wanted to know exactly like what my diet looks like, exact supplements I was consistent with throughout the entire course of the 30 days, you can just go back and listen to that at the beginning. I won't rant about that again. I did stick to the gut reset for about 2 weeks total. Basically, it means that was the only portion of the entire month that I was like very strict with my diet. After that, I started loosening up a little bit on weekends, mostly because there was just a lot going on at the end of June that I feel like I was not able to be as strict as I would have liked with my meals. But also I had ran out of some of my product with my greens, so I just got some more. Basically my one thing I cannot live without on. But okay, I do want to touch on different kinds of things that I noticed at the very end. Just in terms of physical changes, my clothes does feel like it fits better, especially things like denim skirts. I used to feel like they were very fitted, and although I still have quite a bit of my kangaroo pouch I'm like still working on, needs to come down quite a bit more. I do still feel like I noticed most of the change in my chest and in my arms actually. So certain things I used to wear or I would just put on, I realized they don't fit me as snug. I also noticed that the fit was just like a little bit nicer. In terms of strength, I obviously feel a lot stronger, but I also do feel like that's a lot to do with just like upping my protein, my daily intake, and of course finally incorporating strength training again and actually lifting heavier. Other things that don't really involve like physical changes that I noticed were more so just like my levels of energy. I felt like I was able to take on more during my day, and I was able to do it on like less sleep. But exercise and so many different habits that I changed that have nothing to do with like exercise and like weight, I do really feel like it played a role in my sleep and my energy. I do feel a lot more confident in my workout outfits. I feel like there were certain things I would wear that I'm like, oh, I still just look so chubby. My belly area is just not as high as I want it to be just yet. But it wasn't until literally now that I'm seeing that I'm looking a lot better in certain outfits. I hope that makes sense, but it's just I looked chubbier in them at the beginning and now not as much. It's definitely like progress from when I first started, but still not where I want to be. Things I will say that I feel like genuinely made a difference in all of that I just mentioned. Actually monitoring and logging how much protein I was taking a day. So my general gauge is always about 100 grams. I eat more than that majority of the days, but I always just like to have like a baseline that I for sure need to hit just to make it simpler on my mind. The other thing was I stuck to my routine. So I did 1 upper body, 1 lower body, 2 days of Pilates, and the Pilates I feel like was really good for me because it helped a lot with my pelvic floor, and I think that's why I finally working out my abs I think is something I really needed to do just to tighten that area a little bit more and overall feel stronger and more confident. I feel like my legs feel stronger now because of Pilates, my core feels stronger because of Pilates, and it just makes me so happy to finally see like my belly actually go down, even if it's just a little bit. And then of course the appetite control. Even when I was loosening up a little bit more towards the end and eating whatever on the weekends, I found myself like eating certain things because I kind of had to in my situation. Like I was, you know, in a pinch of time, or I was rushing from somewhere to another place and I didn't have a choice but to eat what was in front of me. But I found myself not wanting it. Like some things I would just pick around my plate and not be interested. And I think that had a lot to do with the GLP support. Sorry if you can hear him babbling in the back. He's just like rolling in his little area. Most of the nights that I would typically give in and have like a sweet treat, I found myself not craving one as much, which I thought was really nice. And yeah, just overall, everything coming together was what really helped move the needle forward. You know, I absolutely stand by so many of the supplements that I took and so many of the habits I have worked very hard to establish into like my life. I think the biggest takeaway from all this is the idea of remaining consistent with like all of it. Diet is where it's at. And so I know for me, like where I'm wanting to lose majority of my weight, which is my stomach area, I need to hone into my diet. So I'm excited that after this, I'm basically just gonna keep going in a little bit deeper for a longer period of time. This was only a month, and I'm really excited to say I lost a total of 10 pounds. Prior to beginning this, I weighed about 160, and then I want to say within the first 2 weeks, I lost 6 pounds. Another week, about 2 pounds, and about another week, I lost another 2 pounds. To a lot of people, 10 pounds may not seem like a lot, but the crazy thing is that was with some flexibility in my day-to-day lifestyle, especially towards the end when like I was letting myself just sort of eat whatever I could. So I can only imagine like how much more I could see in terms of progress if I were to be super strict with it. I don't think that you necessarily need to do every single thing that I did, but it's very interesting to just experiment and see what works for me. And now that I've seen progress in the right direction with this, I'm really excited to just keep going in deeper with it all. I'm excited to just keep sharing my weight loss journey with you guys. I don't know if there will be a phase 3. We shall see, because ultimately part of me has been itching to reattempt 75 hard, and I feel like that program is so intense. If you're new here, I did this twice already. The first time I got sick and I didn't get to finish it, and then the second time I literally got to day 69 and just straight up quit because it was not benefiting me in terms of like my mental health. But I feel like it's been a year and some change since then, and I'd like to say that I've grown so much in terms of like my mental stamina, so I feel like I could probably actually finish it this time around. I don't know, let me know in the comments what you guys think, if you think that that would be a good idea. I feel like I am no longer scared of like failing. It's how we grow, it's how we learn from and move on. I don't really care too much if like that happens, but I'm also at the point where I just feel like I'm in a much different headspace and in a different place in my life that I could totally take on the challenge now. Let me know in the comments what you think, if you feel like that would be an interesting phase 3. I probably would do it by incorporating all of this without any cheat days and all the stuff. So anyhow, thanks so much for watching the vlog. If you have any other questions about anything that I mentioned and shared as far as like being on this weight loss journey, and maybe something in particular to this vlog specifically, don't hesitate to reach out or ask